Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth looks to be quite the popular set, with plenty of mass openings to come. This, of course, is in major part due to the inclusion of the 1 out of 1 serialized The One Ring card, a literal lottery ticket currently holding public offers of $1 million and potentially climbing even higher. But this isn't even the only tempting gamble within the set. Contained in every sealed draft, set, and collector booster box is yet another opportunity for a high roll, this time in the form of box toppers. These box toppers are called relics and realms, and are a collection of 9 reprinted artifacts and 21 reprinted lands, each reskinned to depict the world of Middle-earth. All 30 relics and realms come in traditional foil and are indicated as mythic rare, though this rarity ultimately has no correlation to their actual power level, and mostly goes to show they all have the same rate of appearance. All 30 also have the LTC, or Lord of the Rings Commander Set icon, which prevents them from being modern legal, but also has no bearing on Commander legality, as in the example of Caracas, a card which is actually banned in Commander, so don't let the set symbol fool you, or confuse you. Somewhat spoiling the concept of a unique box topper, you also have a chance to find relics and realms in any collector booster pack, with full art non-foil versions appearing in 31% of packs, and surge foil versions appearing in 1% of packs. So now that we know what these Realms and Relics cards are all about, what I want to do in this video is explore which are the best of the best. What do you want to open when you open up your box topper? If you're picking up these booster boxes, let's hope you end up with at least one of the 5 cards coming up on this list, and at the very least, cross your fingers, you don't end up pulling a Bajuka Bog. Let's dive right in, shall we? But first, hey there. Did you know that you're stunning, scintillating, and yes, it's true, sexy? And you are this way no matter how you choose to appear, whether you like to dress up in a shirt and tie or dress up in a dress, whether you like casual or formal, makeup or no, jewelry dripping from your gorgeous being or not a drop, because it is you that makes you so goddamn gorgeous. Oh yeah, and I think you know it, but I also know that it can be really difficult if the way you wish to present yourself to the world around you is as someone with hair, and Mother Nature has something else in store. You start to notice the early signs of hair loss. What do? There's nothing wrong with going bald or balding, but if you're someone who just doesn't want that to happen to, is there a tool you can use? And yes, sponsor of this video, Keeps, is such a tool. You see, Keeps is a men's subscription service to prevent hair loss and stimulate hair growth. This is great because 2 out of 3 guys will experience hair loss by the time they're 35. You may have already noticed it yourself. And while there is nothing wrong with that, there's also nothing wrong with, not wanting to have that happen and to prevent that loss, and that's where Keeps has you covered. Keeps offers clinically proven, research-backed treatments to stop hair loss. And all Keeps treatment plans are recommended by a licensed medical provider and delivered right to your door. It's safe, it's easy, it's fast, it's confidential. And best of all, it's about half the cost of a traditional pharmacy. Knock knock, who's there? It's Kirkland's signature hair loss prevention. That's what it is. Save that cash. And let me say it 3 times, there is nothing wrong with being bald. We know Patrick Stewart is a sex beast, but there's nothing wrong with saying, yeah, I want to have hair, and you get to make that decision. But if Mother Nature is trying to make that decision for you, that's where Keeps comes in. So if you see the signs of hair loss, remember, hair loss stops with Keeps. To get a special offer, go to keeps.com/Tolarian or just click the link in this video's description. That's keeps.com/Tolarian. Thank you, Keeps, for sponsoring this video. So with 30 Relics and Realms cards available as box toppers, which are the top 5 that you most likely want to open, and why do you most likely want to open these? Well, coming in at number 5 is Cloudstone Curio, which bears the Lord of the Rings skin of Elisar the Elfstone, with the cheapest version of this card currently coming in at $48.87. Cloudstone Curio is a topper you definitely want in your box. Cloudstone Curio is an artifact artifact that costs 3 generic mana and states, whenever a non-artifact permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may return another permanent you control that shares a permanent type with it to its owner's hands. Hailing from the original Ravnica, Cloudstone Curio is seeing its only second ever reprint here, though the first reprint did not exactly do much to aid in availability, as it was a Kaladesh invention, currently worth a whopping $195. Helping maintain the value of this card, alongside the lack of reprints, is its solid in-game utility. There's a lot you can do with Curio, and in fact the card has seen play in many competitive 1v1 formats. But it's no slouching commander either. With Curio in play and any one-cost creature, such as Ragavan, a commander player need only cast Dockside Extortionist, where upon entering the battlefield, Dockside will trigger itself and Cloudstone Curio, and as long as our opponents have 4 or more artifacts and enchantments in play, we are now in a position to go infinite. Dockside entering will put 4 treasures into play, and Cloudstone Curio will return Ragavan to our hand. We can then sacrifice 1 treasure to recast Ragavan, triggering Cloudstone Curio when it enters. With this new Cloudstone trigger, we will then return Dockside Extortionist to our hand. We then use 2 treasures to cast Dockside, make another 4 treasures when it enters, use Cloudstone to bounce Ragavan, and repeat the process, netting infinite enter the battlefield triggers and infinite treasure production. Now, who would have thought that you could break Dockside Extortionist so easily? I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you! But the value train doesn't stop there. Nay, we have a veritable party of value to attend with this next Relics and Realms card. Coming in at number 4 is the Great Henge, reskinned as the Party Tree. And wow, do we have cause to celebrate, as this commander staple has been in desperate need of a reprint since its premiere in 2019's Throne of Eldraine. Currently going for a highly restrictive $52.66, the Great Henge is a legendary artifact that costs 7 generic and 2 green mana, that will almost always end up paying less to cast, as it states, this spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Additionally, tap, add 2 green mana. You gain 2 life. And whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it and draw a card. I believe it is no exaggeration to say the Great Henge is the greatest mono-green artifact in Magic the Gathering history. Birthing Pod and Asika's Chariot may come close, under the right circumstances and format anyway. But truly, they are going up against the Great Henge's capacity to cost as little as 2 green mana. In addition to its ability to ramp, and in addition to its ability to life gain, it also provides a +1/+1 counter anthem on top of its preposterous card draw engine. Yeah, no. The Great Henge simply wins best in show for green artifacts. And given how many players want to be running this in their decks, it is a genuine relief to finally see this card reprinted on a mass scale. If you have a commander deck that is in green and loves casting creature spells, chances are almost certain that deck will immediately be upgraded with the inclusion of the Great Henge. And hey, do you even need to be a Lord of the Rings fan to appreciate this reskin is literally just a big tree dedicated to partying down? That's pretty radical, if you ask me. Goblins, elves, dragons, slivers, Eldrazi, merfolk, what do they all have in common? Well, they all have souls. Wait, even the Eldrazi? Apparently even the Eldrazi. Coming in at number 3 is Cavern of Souls, reskinned as Paths of the Dead. Cavern of Souls is a land that states, as Cavern of Souls enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Tap, add 1 colorless mana. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type, and that spell can't be countered. With a ubiquity that leads it to see play in every format it is legal in, Cavern of Souls is a powerhouse of a land card that will run us at least $53.52 to buy. In Vintage, Mono White Initiative runs enough quintessential humans like Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, and Seasoned Dungeoneer that a playset of Caverns is a requirement to guarantee they won't be countered. In Modern, the dozen or so merfolk players can attest that when it comes to casting and protecting their Lord of Atlantis-led forces, Cavern of Souls is a must-have. And I suppose if you're running like an elf deck or a spirits deck or goblins deck or humans deck in Modern, then that too. But really, we merfolk players need need the Cavern. And in any creature deck in Commander, from Ur-Dragon to the first Sliver, casting uncounterable creatures or our commander again solidifies just how many players of how many formats need this freaking card. At its worst, Cavern of Souls is a colorless land that still enters untapped and can be used immediately. At its best, it is the ultimate color fixer, the ultimate blue mage repellent, and the ultimate creature subtype support one can hope to place on the battlefield. It's such a powerful card, in fact, that the creature version of it, Delighted Halfling, has become one of the best cards not just for Commander, but also for the modern format from Lord of the Rings as well. If you'd like to hear more about it or the other picks for those formats, my videos are available here and here. As we ascend from the caverns below, our next card takes us immediately to the great skies above. And there, what is it? We see a card that hasn't had a single reprint since its inception 18 years ago. Finally reappearing since its debut in Saviors of Kamigawa, the number 2 Relics and Realms box topper is Oboro, Palace in the Clouds, depicted as Buckleberry Fairy. Oboro, Palace in the Clouds is a land that states, tap, add 1 blue mana, and pay 1 generic mana, return Oboro, Palace in the Clouds to its owner's hand. Landfall decks in Commander have been waiting very patiently for this reprint, as at $60.36, it has been mostly relegated to the most luxurious lists. I would also have bet money they were saving it for a secret lair, so it's quite a relief to see it here instead. Oboro's ability to bounce itself back to our hand is what makes it a landfall all-star, as it means we always have a way to get a land into hand, and primed for another trigger. A single recurring landfall trigger is Oboro at its least efficient, however. When optimized, Oboro Palace in the Clouds can give us not just 1 extra landfall trigger, but infinite. Imagine, if you will, having Retreat to Coralhelm and Sakura Tribe Scout in play. Let's tap the Scout to put Oboro Palace in the Clouds into play from our hand. Oboro entering will trigger Retreat to Coralhelm, untapping Sakura Tribe Scout. Then let's tap Oboro to add 1 blue, and spend that blue to activate its own ability, returning it to our hand. We can then tap our Sakura Tribe Scout once again, putting Oboro into play, and repeating the groan-inducing process all the way to a vicious value engine victory. Also, back in the day I would run it in my blue-white Merfolk Modern deck, but I guess that has been relegated to a minor footnote in Magic history. Alright, it's time for the final Relics and Realms card, and it is a land that is unquestionably one of the most powerful cards in all of Magic the Gathering. The most prized box topper from Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth is none other than... Without question, the number 1 Relics and Realms box topper that you should hope to get is Ancient Tomb, reskinned as Balin's Tomb. Is it Balin's Tomb? Well, whoever's tomb it is, it's really an ancient one, and a truly unparalleled land that states, tap, add 2 colorless mana. Ancient Tomb deals 2 damage to you. Talk about greatness at any cost. Who needs to draw cards when you can make mana? Ancient Tomb is a glorious reprint here, with the cheapest tournament legal version of the card currently running a brutal $69.52. That $69 price tag is far from nice. Why is Ancient Tomb so expensive? Out of all the lands that produce greater than 1 mana, there are 2 things that set Ancient Tomb above them all. First, it enters the battlefield untapped, allowing us to utilize it immediately. And second, its stipulation of paying 2 life is far and away the easiest condition to fulfill out of them all. Eldrazi Temple and Phyrexian Tower may enter untapped and produce us 2 mana, but Eldrazi Temple only allows us to cast Eldrazi spells with it. And Phyrexian Tower requires a creature sacrifice, which is a resource that is almost always less available than our life total. Balduvan Trading Post and Soldevi Excavations also produce 2 mana and enter untapped. However, they require the exorbitant cost of sacrificing an untapped mountain or island to do so. Mishra's Workshop gives us 3 colorless mana, but we can only spend it on artifacts, where Ancient Tomb lets us cast anything. Now, City of Traders is the one card that's actually better than Ancient Tomb. Well, for a single turn anyway, before we lose access to it by playing another land. And so we can conclude that there is simply virtually no land in Magic that ramps as reliably, as cleanly, and with as little demand as Ancient Tomb. Not only is it a Commander all-star, but playsets of this land are essential in top-end Vintage and Legacy lists. And additionally, nearly every competitive Commander deck wants to see it in their opening hand. Canadian Highlander probably wants it as well. It's just that good. I didn't actually look up if Canadian Highlander needs it, though. You should ask Wheeler and Surge. Go watch their Canadian Highlander gameplay videos. They're really good. It's a good format. People need to support it. Leave a comment asking them if Ancient Tomb is any good in Canadian Highlander. They won't know what's going on. I look forward to these reprints bringing the cost of these expensive staples down, if at least for a little while. Even if they don't, at least they increase accessibility because for every box opened, there is a topper and a chance that some random player is going to get one of these much-needed reprints. Sadly, if luck is not on your side, you might end up with a 56-cent Castle Ardenvale reprint or a 61-cent Bojuka Bog reprint, or even a 22-cent Mouth of Ronom. What the heck is that even doing in here? Why not just put the good cards in? It's a box topper. You should be assured. Maybe they're not all Ancient Tombs, but why does it have to be a Bojuka Bog? But now I want to hear from you. Are box toppers something that every set should have, or just a gimmick? And speaking of gimmicks, I talk about the gimmicks of Lord of the Rings, from the one of one true ring, which currently has a bounty of $1 million on it, to the fact that this entire set, for some reason, is being made modern legal. Want to hear me wind on and on about my thoughts on those and other topics? Check out that video here, or listed in this video's description. Hey, thanks once again to Keeps for sponsoring this video. You know, there's nothing wrong with being bald, going bald, balding, but there's also nothing wrong with wanting to decide that you would like to have hair. And if Mother Nature has a different answer in store for you, you've got a tool at your disposal, and that tool is Keeps. So if you see the signs of hair loss, remember, hair loss stops with Keeps. To get a special offer, go to keeps.com/Tolarian or click the link in this video's description. That's keeps.com/Tolarian. Either way, you are sexy just the way you are. Thank you, Keeps, for letting me tell my viewers that. But it's true, right? You're awesome!
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
Today, we have a powerful pod of potent personalities coming to bring you Commander, but with a twist.
This format is Treasure Cruise. It was developed by members of my Discord to satisfy the base Magic player urge to gamble whenever possible. It features a special add-on deck of mostly helpful artifacts with a couple harmful curses that you can roll a die to go digging and get something for free on your board.
Ba-boom! God damn it.
Is this back-to-back curses? Oh, it's time. It's time for bees.
No,
not the bees.
Ironcrag Pyromancer. I see a lot of things that die to 3 damage, so I'm pretty excited about that.
So everything in your hand and in play dies to removal?
Specifically removal that is set up by the Howling one that's currently in play. Oh, stop it. Outside of game, how, if I'm gonna just top.
I think you need to say to the camera, I'd like some top, please.
I would like some top, please.
It's almost